Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like your entire life suddenly changed? Just because one person decided to leave? Maybe you gave your best. You tried to be a good partner. You did everything you could to hold the relationship together. And yet, it still ended. And in that moment, many people begin to lose themselves. They question their worth. They blame the situation. Some even lose their self-respect, just because someone chose to walk away. But let me tell you something you rarely hear. A breakup doesn't destroy you. What destroys you is when you allow someone's departure to take away your inner peace. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius understood this thousands of years ago. You cannot control who comes into your life, and you cannot control who leaves. But you can always control how you respond. And that is where your true power lies. On this daily inspiration channel, we believe in one simple principle. Calm is not weakness. And in this video, I'll show you how Stoic individuals deal with heartbreak. Not with anger. Not with desperation. And certainly not by losing their dignity. But with a level of calm that actually makes them stronger after loss. Because sometimes, the person who leaves your life is not the end of your story. Often, it's the beginning of a stronger version of you. 1. They understand that not everything is in their control. Let me ask you something simple. When someone leaves, what's the first thought that comes to your mind? For most people, it's this. What's wrong with me? Was I not enough? Could I have done something to make them stay? Without realizing it, we start trying to control something that was never ours to control in the first place. This is where Stoicism draws a clear line. Epictetus said, "Life comes down to two categories: what you can control and what you cannot. So be honest with yourself. Can you control how someone feels about you? You can love them. You can treat them well. You can give your best. But you cannot force someone to feel the same forever." And that's where many people get stuck, spending months, even years, trying to understand something simple. Someone chose to leave. A Stoic doesn't keep asking, why did they leave? They ask a better question. What can I still control right now? And the answer is simple. Your thoughts, your actions, and how you choose to move forward. Breakups hurt. No Stoic ever denied that. But pain isn't the real problem. The real problem begins when you lose control of your own mind. 2. They allow themselves to feel pain, but don't drown in it. There's a common misunderstanding about Stoicism. People think being Stoic means being cold. Like you don't feel anything. That's not true. A Stoic still feels sadness. They still feel heartbreak. Even Marcus Aurelius acknowledged that losing someone you love is part of being human. So if you're hurting right now, that's normal. The problem isn't the pain. The problem is when you stay in it for too long. After a breakup, people replay the same memories again and again. They reread old messages. They relive the last conversation. They feed their minds with a past that no longer exists. And the more they do it, the deeper they sink. A Stoic takes a different approach. They don't reject sadness, but they don't make it their home either. Think of emotions like a guest. Sadness can come in. It can sit down for a while. But a Stoic will never hand over the keys to the house. Because they understand. Emotions are temporary. Feel it, but don't become it. 3. They don't beg for love. Let's be honest. After a breakup, many people enter a painful phase. They try to hold on to something that's already gone. They send long messages late at night. They beg for another chance. They promise to change, just to make the other person stay. Maybe you've been there. If you have, you're not alone. People do this not because they're weak, but because they're afraid of losing something important. But Stoicism sees this differently. A Stoic understands one simple truth. Love that must be forced is not love. If someone truly wants to be in your life, they won't need constant convincing to stay. When you beg someone to stay, it's no longer about love. It's about fear. And fear will make you sacrifice your dignity. Epictetus warned us, never tie your happiness to something outside your control. And someone else's decision to stay or leave is completely outside your control. A Stoic chooses dignity over desperation. They don't chase someone who wants to leave. Instead, they say, quietly, within themselves, if you want to go, go peacefully. I won't stop you. Because the right person doesn't need to be forced to stay. 4. They see heartbreak as mental training. Most people see breakups as failure. Something went wrong. Something shouldn't have happened. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. For a Stoic, difficulty is not the enemy. It's training. Let me ask you this. If life was always easy, if no one ever hurt you, if nothing was ever lost, would you be strong? Probably not. Strength is built through challenge. Epictetus said, difficulties show us who we truly are, and heartbreak is one of life's greatest emotional tests. A Stoic doesn't ask, why is this happening to me? They ask, what can this teach me? Because every ending carries a lesson. Sometimes about your mistakes. Sometimes about your boundaries. Sometimes about giving too much to the wrong person. But the biggest lesson is usually about yourself. 5. They don't romanticize the past. After a breakup, your mind plays a trick on you. You don't miss the person. You miss the memories. You replay the good moments, the laughter, the connection. But your mind conveniently forgets the problems, the arguments, the incompatibility, the reasons it didn't work. You start creating a perfect version of the past. And the more perfect it feels, the more painful the loss becomes. A Stoic chooses honesty over illusion. They see the relationship as it truly was, both the good and the bad. Because the past is a place to learn from, not a place to live in. 6. They use solitude to grow. After a breakup comes silence. No more messages. No more late-night conversations. No more shared routines. And many people run from that silence. They rush into new relationships. They try to fill the emptiness. But a Stoic does the opposite. They embrace solitude. Because for the first time in a while, they have space to reconnect with themselves. They reflect. They rebuild. They grow. And slowly, something changes. The person who once felt broken becomes stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. 7. They understand that everything is temporary. Here's a truth most people avoid. Everything changes. Feelings change. People change. Situations change. Suffering comes from expecting something beautiful to last forever. Stoics remind themselves of this constantly. Nothing is permanent. Not to become cold, but to become aware. Because when you understand that everything is temporary, you stop clinging. You start appreciating. And when something ends, you don't collapse. Because deep down, you already knew. It was never meant to last forever. Closing. Let me leave you with this. A breakup hurts. No philosophy can erase that completely. But Stoicism teaches something far more valuable. How to stand firm in the middle of the pain. A Stoic doesn't reject love. They don't close their heart. They still love deeply. They still appreciate connection. But they never tie their entire peace to one person. Because their value is not defined by who stays or who leaves. And sometimes, the person who leaves your life was never meant to stay forever. They were just part of the journey. That helped you become stronger. And remember, being calm does not mean you are weak.